Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Aeon's End. Today we're going to be playing against the Crooked Mask again as Jean or Jean, however you want to pronounce it. So for the Crooked Mask, the elders say there is a god for every aspect of its existence, every creature, every force. If this is true, then the Crooked Mask domain is that of corruption, for the weapon he wields is brought by temptation. How do we slay a god, especially one with such a dark influence over the weaker survivors among us? We have endured on so little for so long. How do we hold back when what we need most seems to be offered so freely? Many in Gravehold murmur that behind its grim visage lies a cruel and desolate grin. There is a noise it makes, a sort of laugh one can hear just under the bells and the screams. Set up, shuffle all the corruption cards together and place them face down to form the corruption deck, which we already have. 70 health. Unleash. Any player gains a corruption and places it on top of their deck. That player shuffles their discard pile into their deck. Additional rules: when a corruption is destroyed, place it on the bottom of the corruption deck. When a player would gain a corruption and the corruption deck is empty, Gravehold suffers 2 damage instead. At the start of each player's turn, before that player's casting phase, that player resolves all corruptions in their hand in any order. At the end of each player's main phase, that player resolves all corruptions they drew during their turn. Corruptions may not be played at any other time. When a player gains a corruption, that player may not look at the corruption unless it is placed into their hand. So it's like random. Basically, yeah, when we get a corruption from the corruption deck, it goes into our deck, and we're not supposed to look at it. Before we start casting, we have to resolve the corruptions in our hand. Okay. So yeah, you secretly basically place the top one on top of our deck, and then you shuffle our deck in our discard pile, which is new. Seems pretty interesting. So we already got everything set up. Let me go ahead and read Jin. However you want to pronounce, I'm probably mispronouncing that so bad, but it's got a very short one. Father died, the orb. I took it in my hands, and then quiet was upon me. Orphan, then the mages. I learned the sister words, the spark, but never spoke them. Like Fedraxa, I see it changed me. There are many worlds, the nameless are a scourge to all. So war. Once I was born, soon I will save them, and become nothing. Everything is between. In between is just waiting. A web. It's all web. And so she actually starts with 2 open breaches, which is interesting. Starting with the Moonstone Shard, 2 crystals, 2 sparks. Starting deck is 3 crystals, 2 sparks. And her special ability, which only costs 4 charges, we can cast a prep spell without discarding it, and then cast that prep spell again, discard it after. So you can basically cast a spell twice on your main phase, which is pretty cool. Starting with 10 health, of course, which, depending on, like I said, depending on how hard things do get later on in expansions and stuff, we might change that to 12. Probably won't go much more above that. The problem is, right, is when you're playing true solo, you really don't have, like, you're taking all the damage. There is no other player taking damage, and that's the part where I think true solo suffers, is your player damage. So the Moonstone Shard, which is her special card, gain 1 money, gain an additional money that can only be used to gain a gem. So looks like she has a way to get the bigger gems, which we've randomized. I did use a randomizer this time for the market. We have Jade, Sifter's Pearl, Diamond Cluster as our gems. Our relics are Bottled Vortex and Mage's Talisman. And our spells are Wildfire Whip, Lava Tendril, Phoenix Flame, and Planar Insight. Which, when we buy them, I'll obviously read it, in case you don't know cards by hand, which, might not. And we are off to the races. And if you first time watching, right, instead of the turn order cards, I like to use these colored little, I don't even know what you call them, circles to represent turns. Now, there are some bosses I know that do like mess with the turn order deck, so when we do get to that, we will switch over to the cards. But right now, we're good. So first turn, us. So we're gonna prep both of our sparks. We have 5 money, or 4 money. Diamond cluster. Do I want a diamond cluster? Gain 2 money. If this is the second time you have played diamond cluster this turn, gain an additional 2 money. And sifter's pearl. Gain 2 money. Each player reveals the top card of their deck and either discards it or returns it to the top of their deck. Or we could buy a Phoenix Flame. But I think we're going to buy a diamond cluster. We use all 3 of those for a diamond cluster. And end our turn. Go to the next turn. Us again. I forgot to do our draw phase. So 2 sparks, 3 crystals. We're going to cast both sparks. Sitting him down to 68. We're going to prep another 2 sparks. We have 3 crystals. I'm going to buy a Phoenix Flame. Deal 2 damage. You may lose 1 charge to deal 2 additional damage. So we'll see. I don't know if Phoenix Flame is really that good for her. Because honestly, we might want like bigger. Actually, now that I think about it, I think we might want like bigger spells with her because she's going to need her charges. We'll buy a Sifter's Pearl. Gain 2 money. Each player reveals the top card of their deck and either discards it or returns it to the top of their deck. Okay. Oh. All right. Next turn. We got a draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of money there. Our turn again. Going to cast our 2 sparks. Putting him down to 66. I'm going to try to get as much damage as we can in on him. Prep a spark. And we have a diamond cluster. Gain 2 money. If this is the second time you've played diamond cluster this turn, which is not, so just 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 money. We're going to gain a lava tendril. Gonna keep my shard. So because it's only 4. And then I'm gonna use the shard to buy a jade. Then we draw to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a lot of money. We need to start buying spells here. I got a feeling. Yep. Finally, his turn. Burden. The player collectively gain 2 corruptions and place them on the top of their decks. Any player focuses a breach. Oh. Okay, I will focus our biggest one, and we take 2 corruption cards. Top of our deck. Right? So, discard. When a corruption is destroyed, when a player would gain a corruption, the corruption is empty at the start of each player's turn before that player casting phase. At the end of blah blah blah. It doesn't say shuffle. It only says if he unleashes, and the card just says gain 2 corruption. So I'm gonna assume we just keep it as is. So next turn, us, which means he'll be going next. We're gonna keep Spark up there and prep another Spark. We have Shifter's Pearl. Each player reveals the top card of their deck and either discards it or returns it to the top of their deck. Gravehold suffers 2 damage. Focus a Breach. Destroy this. I actually kind of like that. I'm going to actually keep that. I know it sounds weird, but I'm going to keep that. So that was 2. We have 2 money from that. Another 3. And we have 2 very expensive spells. We have 5 currently. I could buy a Mage's Talisman. Gain 1 charge, and it basically gives us 2 charges. I'm going to do that. And an ally gains 1 charge. And the rule says if you're playing 1 mage, an ally refers to yourself. So 2 charges for us with that spell. We draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 3. So we get to see. So Dire Wisdom and Delirium Veil. We already read Delirium Veil. Dire Wisdom is gain a spell from any spell pile, gain 3 corruptions, and place them on top of your deck. Destroy this. And it says don't do anything with them until your next turn. So we know it's his turn again. Bleed Static, power 3. The player with the most prep spells suffers 2 damage for each prep spell. So, power 3. His turn goes to 2. Corruptor minion, 6 health. When this minion suffers damage, the player who dealt that damage gains a corruption and places on the top of their deck. Persistent Gravehold suffers 1 damage. Well, that's not good. All right. Us. So Gravehold suffers 2 damage and destroy. So suffers 2 damage. We get to focus a breach. Then destroy it. Dire Wisdom. Gain a spell from any spell supply. We're going to get a planar insight. Deal 2 damage. Deal 1 additional damage for each of your opened breaches. And then destroy this. Destroyed. Okay. Corruptor, we kind of want to hit him hard. Like, so I'm not going to attack him. I'm going to prep or cast 2 sparks, taking him down to 64. Gonna prep another 2 sparks. I need to move him up a little bit here. So I can place those cards. Then we have 1 crystal. Can't do anything with the crystal. Draw 4. Alright. Hand. Next turn. Us. Going to cast a spark. And then prep a lava tendril. And then we have quite a bit of money here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Well, 5 if we buy a crystal, but we have 4. Going to buy a... I'm going to open our last breach here. With the 4. Draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need to start getting some spells here. Next turn, us. Gonna hit the Corruptor for 3. Hitting him for half his health. The player who dealt that damage gains a corruption and places it at the top of their deck. Okay. I'm gonna spark for 1, putting him down to 62. Currently I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And Sifter's Pearl lets us look at the top card. Suffer 1 damage. You may destroy a non-corruption in hand. Destroy this. I'm going to put that at the bottom. The Sifter's Pearl. So it says discard it. And when it's discarded, it goes to the corruption deck. So that's 4, 5, 6. Going to buy... I'm going to buy another Planar Insight. Keep that. Next turn. Him, finally. So 1. Corruptor. Gravehold suffers 1 damage. 27. Card. Tempt. The player with the most crystals in hand discards all their crystals, suffers 3 damage, and gains a card from any supply pile that costs 4 or less. Okay, so all of our crystals go, which is just 1. Suffer 3 damage, putting us to 7, and gains a card from supply that costs 4 or less. Going to get a diamond cluster. And there we go. And then in the last turn's us. So I'm going to prep a Planar Insight. Going to prep 2 Sparks. And then I'm going to use Mage's Talisman to gain 2 charges. Draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does it say destroy? Oh. Whoops, we've been playing that wrong. When it says destroy, they're supposed to go at the bottom of the deck. Oops. Been playing that wrong. That's our hand. Next turn. Us. Going to kill the Corruptor, which gives us a corruption. Killing the Corruptor. Going to spark him for 2, putting him down to 60. I'm going to prep a spark. Then we've got 2, 4, 5. We have 5. I'm going to get a Mage's Talisman. Actually, yeah, I'm going to get a... No. Yeah, I'm going to get a Mage's Talisman. Sorry. In my turn, got... Uh-oh, corruption. I forgot about the corruption. It's coming. Us. So our corruption... Gravehold suffers 3 damage, putting it to 24. Gain 2 life. Destroy this. Okay. Gonna cast Spark and hit him for 2, putting him down to 58. I'm gonna prep Lava Tendril and Spark. And then cast 4. We have 4. I'm going to prep, or I'm going to focus our breach. That'll be our turn. We need 2 more. Next turn, it's him. We are about to take some damage. I wasn't even really thinking about that. We suffer 4 damage, taking us down to 5. Card. To discard 4 cards in hand and draw 1 card. Power 2, Gravehold suffers 3 damage, Crooked Mask gains 13 life. Okay, we have got to get rid of that. So that's a power 2. Him again, putting it to power 1. Discard the top 2 cards of the Nemesis deck, which is Needlemaw and Dispel. For each tier 3 Nemesis card discarded this way, the Gravehold suffers 4 damage. Both of those are 2. So nothing. We get 2 turns. So first turn. So we have to discard 4 cards. Well, first we get the cast. So I'm going to hit him for 4, 5, putting him down to 53. And then I'm going to prep Planar Insight, and then I'm going to discard 3 crystals and a diamond cluster to get rid of this. Ending our turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second turn, going to use Mage Talisman to gain 2 charges, and then I'm going to activate our ability. Cast any player's equipped spell without discarding it. So Planar Insight, deal 2 damage plus the 1. So 3, deal 1 additional damage for each of your opened breaches. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit him for 6. Putting him down to 47. And then cast that prep spell again, discard it afterwards. So hit him for another 6, putting him down to 41. Gonna prep a Planar Insight again, and 2 sparks. We've got 1 crystal that stays. We get, that's our hand. Turns go back in. Us. Mage Talisman for 2 charges. We've got, well, sorry, I wanted to cast these, so hit him for 2, putting him down to 39. Cast Planar Insight for another 3, 4, 5, 6, for another 6, putting him down to 33. And then we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5. Going to use 3 to focus. And then 2 to gain a 3rd charge. Drawing 5. I need 2. Oop. It's our turn again. Gonna prep a lava tendril and 2 sparks. We got Sifter's Pearl and Jade. 4. What can I buy? Um, 4. Going to just use them to focus our third breach. Our hand. Us again. Going to spark and then spark for 2, putting him down at 31. Going to then use 2 crystals to gain a spark, putting us down to 4. I'm going to activate our ability and hit him for 4 with Lava Tendril. You're at 31. That puts him to 28. And then the ability casts it again and discards it. So another 4, putting him down to 24. Going to cast Mage Talisman, giving us 2 charges. And then we have 3 money, which I'm going to use to open our breach. We now have all our breaches open. 5. Going to be a big turn next turn. Well, next time we get to play, because he's got 2 turns in the bag. Cauterize. When damage is dealt to this minion, reduce that damage by 1. Persistent. Any player suffers damage equal to this minion's current life. Next turn. Us. We're going to prep a Planar Insight, and 2 Sparks. Going to cast Callous Mage to gain 2 charges. Going to use those charges to cast a Planar Insight, so 2 plus 1, 3, and then 1 additional for each open breach, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to hit him for 7, taking him down to 17. Or wait, what was that? Was he at 25? I think it might be 18. I don't really know if it matters. Then we get to cast it again, putting him down for another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. Draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1. That's going to be his turn. Persistent, any player suffers, so I suffer 3 damage, putting us down to 2. Pain Sower, 11 health. Persistent, any player suffers 2 damage. A different player focuses a breach. Our turn. Going to cast Planar Insight, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Putting him down to 4. I'm going to cast both Sparks to hit him for 2. And then I'm going to prep a charge with those 2. Prep, charge, and we gain. Oh, that puts us at 3. Then we're just going to hope we live for whatever happens next, or we get our turn. Our turn, which we never got to prep a spell, unfortunately. I'm going to put 2 Sparks down. Going to then use a Jade to gain our 4th charge, to then use it on Spark, hitting him for 4 total. If you count the spell or the passive, and defeating the crooked mask. I don't know. I don't know if the extra turn might be too overpowered. But to be fair, we were about to die. Like we were about to be exhausted, so we are going to lose a breach, lose all our charges, and then he would. Let's see how much we would have taken on his next turn. So Cauterizer would have killed us. We would have had extra damage, so it doubles. So it would have put Gravehold to 2 or hit him for 2. Then Paden Sower would have hit us for 4. And then somehow we would have had to kill. We wouldn't have been able to kill him because we would have had a spark. So if he got another turn, that's 6 damage. Putting it to 12, and then another 4, putting it to 8. Yeah, we would have been dying. It was still close, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, that's the Crooked Mask. I wish I would have been able. I wish we would have gotten more unleashes. I don't think he unleashed once. He didn't really. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more corruption, but the corruption's really, honestly, just, and it actually ranks him more difficult than the others, which I guess may be true. Like you go further along, it's probably harder. Like where some of his 2 different players each gain 2 corruptions and place them at the top of their deck. Yeah, but like they gain you life and stuff. I think that's he's probably just easier, and I don't know. It's probably the extra turn, but we would have been way dead at 3, which I'm fine with. But yeah, that is the Crooked Mask.